Oh yeah, it's big brain time. Hello everyone and welcome. Today I'm answering the question, can I beat Dark Souls while only leveling intelligence? I picked the Sorcerer class and I'm off. The Asylum is pretty normal. I make sure to thank Oscar for his service in freeing me by giving him a little love tap, then grab my magic stick, also the Sorcerer's Catalyst. Okay, so I'm sure some of you read the title of this video and think I must be severely int level deficient if I think this is an actual challenge. And I'm sure at least one of you have already commented, well duh Doom, of course you can. Which is fair. That's why I've cooked up something else to make this a little bit more interesting. If you've seen my Strength or Dex only videos, you know that I used weapons that only scaled primarily with those stats. At first I wanted to do the same with the Sorcerer class, but here's the problem. There are only 4 weapons that scale primarily with intelligence. Even if I did only the mandatory bosses, that's not enough to take them down. To make it worse, if I included every weapon that just had innate int scaling at all, the number only goes up to 8. Sure, I literally doubled the weapons I could pick from, but here's the issue with that. The Sorcerer class has never seen a dumbbell in their life and only has 9 strength, which means even while two-handing, the only weapon I could pick is Velka's Rapier. Except that's wrong too, because I don't have the dexterity for it. So I have a couple of options. The first would be to adhere strictly to the rules, only level intelligence, but anything else goes. Which of course works, but at that point it's basically a sorceries only run, and I've already done one of those. The second option would be to use any weapon I could that has int scaling, but like I just mentioned, for the Sorcerer, that's literally only the Catalyst. Sure, there are 11 of those, but the problem is, they kinda suck as far as melee weapons go. I mean look, I'm doing a whopping 6 whole damage to that Asylum Demon. By now we all know that I'm not the kind of person that enjoys low damage runs, so I'd prefer not to do that either. Something else I could do is just AFK farm some souls for Titanite, then grab the green ones from Blighttown and make a magic infused weapon, then farm more green Titanite shards to continue making those. Except at that point it's literally just a normal run, but magic. I'm sure some silly stuff might happen and a couple of the more magic resistant bosses might give me some problems, but it's still not good enough for a challenge run. The final option is to break the rules. The Sorcerer isn't able to use the int weapons, but a couple of the other classes almost are. Looking at my other options, you might think Thief is a good pick with 15 dexterity, but it's actually just as bad as a Sorcerer because there is no dex boosting equipment in this game. And even if it did have one more point, it still only has 9 in strength, tying with the Sorcerer, so nothing actually changed. However, the Hunter class has 12 strength, which when two-handing brings it up to 18, allowing the use of Velka's Rapier, the Moonlight Greatsword, the Chandler's Trident, and the Titanite Catchpole. The problem there is that 3 of those have 16 for dex, which we are 2 points short of. Honestly, I think the idea of using these other weapons is more interesting than hitting things with my stick for hours on end, but that still isn't really much of a challenge. So I decided to treat this like an old school game. Lives. Since I don't have enough weapons to take down all the bosses, I will instead treat each weapon as a life, and if I run out of lives, the run ends. Yeah, I think that's good enough. Comment down below if you think I'll be able to finish the run or if something is going to take me out. Honestly, I'm a bit worried about the Beta Chaos fight, but most everything else should be fine. Probably. I go ahead and finish beating up the Asylum Demon with my little stick, then make a new Hunter character. Quick reminder, I've got merch. Check out the link below for an awesome shirt or hoodie. Once again, the Asylum plays out normally. This time I let Oscar give me his drink before I cut him down, then I grab my, magic short bow and make the Asylum Demon mincemeat. I put my 2 not int points into dexterity, and with that, the run has fully started, meaning if I die at any point from here on out, I'm out of lives. So the logical first thing to do is to get more of those. Fortunately, there are a couple of Titanite demons available and a Chandler, so with some good luck, I might get a life. Come on, Jane, you don't gotta be that mean to me. The problem with rushing any of the enemies is that I'm still really squishy, so it's not a great idea. Further, this short sword isn't a magic weapon, and I figured since there is an enchanted falchion in the Duke's archives, I could just collect the materials necessary to make this a magic weapon, then trade it out when I get there. I know I said I didn't want to make every weapon magic, but I thought this was a fair compromise for not just giving myself one of the weapons at the beginning. Also, I'm definitely not going to pacifist everything until I have it. I mean, I could, there's only a couple of tricky spots, but meh. So first I descend into New Londo, use the Master Key to open the Valley of Drakes, then take Blighttown from behind, much how it usually does to us. Fortunately, the back way is much easier, so after a bit of swamp walking, I grab the 1 green Titanite shard. Now all I need is 9 regular ones. There are a few ways to get these, but I decided on just doing the Dragon Farm until I could buy them. The problem now is actually getting to the Dragon Farm. The first obstacle is getting past this one stupid Drake. The amount of times I've ridden its tail to my death is absurd. Initially I tried to bait it off the cliff, but it wouldn't have it. I did think about quit out strats, but that felt a bit too cheesy, so I just had to risk it and was lucky enough to run right on by. Making my way up through Darkroot Garden, I sprint by the Titanite Demon, making sure to whisper in his ear how badly I want his big long pole, then emerge in the undead parish. A smart man would activate the Firelink shortcut. I am not a smart man. I don't know why, but I just thought to myself, I don't need it, which, I mean, why though? Why not just activate the shortcut, Doom, you buffoon? I guess I just thought the shortcut below the bridge was enough, but I'm an idiot. I run by everything in the parish, then have my second heart attack when I'm basically forced into a tiny hallway with some rats and a hollow soldier on one side and another with a shield on the other. But I am a pro gamer and I am able to dispatch all these enemies, meaning the dragon farm and my beloved Titanite shards are now in range. I proceed to make extra crispy bacon on the bridge hollows until I have almost 10,000 souls. I don't need that much, but I kinda stopped paying attention at some point. Now I just had to get back to Andre. I figured I might as well go under the dragon as it was the shortest path, so I wait for him to jump down and sprint under to safety. That safety, however, is short-lived when I saw that the board didn't reset its position. Now I could have waited for it to walk back and reset, but I mean, what's a run without a little danger? Except I bit off more than I could chew when it and a couple hollow soldiers followed me past the gate. Please, please game, why are you throwing all this bullshit at me when I can't die? Like, honestly. I ended up just retreating and I managed to make it back to Andre where I buy 9 shards and upgrade my short sword to +5. Now all I have to do is go down the Firelink Shrine shortcut and get to Rickard and... Wait, what are you doing, me? It's right there, why are you going that way? Yeah, I don't know what the hell I was thinking. I literally could have jumped in the elevator and been at Rickard in like 90 seconds tops, but instead I decided to go back through the parish, under the bridge, and through the Undead Burg. Am I okay? Well, whatever. I did get this sweet plunging attack on the board, so at least that's something. Since I did open the gate before, I don't have to worry about going under the bridge to the rat, so at least I've got that going for me. Eventually, I make it to Rickard where I can finally make my short sword magical. Now it's time to think about my next move. Like I mentioned earlier, I could try and get the Titanite catch pole, but honestly those things kinda scare me. And I'm still relatively wimpy, so I thought doing the gargoyles would be better, especially because the channeler is on the way. I also figured I'd go through the Taurus demon for some extra souls. I'm doing more damage to the hollows than I was before, but I honestly think that that's less the weapon's damage and more that they have bottom tier magical defenses. Regardless, I push on through the Undead Burg and only just now realized I could have come this way and used Havel's Tower to avoid the Valley of Drakes. Oops. I take about half the health from the Taurus demon with a plunging attack, which is honestly more than I was expecting. I wasn't super worried about this fight, even though he has some stupid shockwave hitboxes, they don't do a lot of damage themselves. I did mistime a dodge, I guess, and got hit by an attack, but I knew he would stagger soon, so I just kept slicing at his ankles and the first boss is down. Unfortunately, having opened the Dragon Gate earlier backfired, as now the Hellkite Drake will spit fire all the way down the bridge. Great. Oh well, I can just bait him to jump off again. This time I run up and buy everything with much less fear now that Wilbur is gone, making my way into the Undead Church. I easily dispatch this Baronic Knight for a worthless shard, then grab the Firekeeper soul to make my Estus a +1. I won't be able to upgrade my health, so at some point these will become worthless, but for now it's fine. Thankfully for me, the Channeler ends up body blocking his hollow buddies and I can take them out with some wide swings. Unfortunately, he doesn't drop the trident, seems like I'm never lucky when I need to be. I decided to free Lautrec, the reason being because... I mean, if I didn't, who would? Not like he's gonna free himself, then I take on the first major boss, the Bell Gargoyles. I wasn't super worried about this going in. I mean, I've duked it out with them hundreds of times. The damage I do is... okay. Honestly a bit underwhelming, but leagues better than the 6 of swing, I guess. Unfortunately, it's not enough to burst one of them down, at least not with my wimpy stamina bar before the second one joins the fray. I did get a scare near the end of the fight where I took 2 pulls up the backside at the same time. Thankfully though, my few levels in INT, plus my armor had increased my physical defenses enough to not eat it. Once one is taken care of though, the other one is as good as dead, netting me a cool 10,000 souls to use. I ascend the tower and ring my first bell, then return to Firelink and bring my intelligence to 24. Before I leave though, I pay a visit to our new friend Lautrec, where I proceed to end that friendship as abruptly as the ravine ends him. Yes, my feet are magic, just ask Miyazaki. I did this obviously for the Ring of Favor and Protection. I wasn't sure how useful it would be, but I reasoned that there aren't many other rings I would want to use, so I might as well give myself some extra health. Now though, I had to think about my next option. I could either take on the Titanite demons for a chance at the pole, or proceed to Quelaag for the second bell. I guess I could also fight the Moonlight Butterfly for its soul, but that wouldn't be useful until I got to Anor Londo anyway. In the end, I decided I would fight the Titanite demon near Andre for a chance at the pole first. After all, it's probably not as dangerous as it was before. I'm doing pretty terrible damage to it, but as long as I dance in and out of its range, it's not the biggest issue. Especially if I'm close while it's shooting lightning, that is a great chance to bring the pain. All was going well until at one point he pulls a 180 in the air and lands on me, and then as I try to get away, I get stuck on a rock and nearly taken out. I know about 2 paragraphs ago I said I don't know how useful the FAP ring would be. It literally just saved my life. After changing my pants, I take down the demon and he drops nothing because of course he doesn't. Now technically there's another one in the catacombs and I could go do it, but yeah, that's kind of scary. Well, whatever, I just farm a purple moss from the INT outside, and the upside being, I only need 1 because if I die to Quelaag, that's it. I figured since I was doing Sin's Fortress soon, having the Rusted Iron Ring would be helpful to fight the Titanite demons down there for a whopping 4 chances at the pole. So on my way I make sure to grab the key off the roof, would be embarrassing to forget that, then return to the asylum. I could probably take on the stray demon now, but there's no need to unnecessarily risk myself, so I'm only going to grab the doll in the ring. That means the biggest danger here are the torch hollows with that stupid charge attack. As long as I bait that though, I'll be fine. I hate this fucking game.